Hello and welcome to a look at the Daley Thompson's Super Test for the Commodore 64, a game that was released by Ocean. Ocean actually released quite a few games with the name tag Daley Thompson, which, for those who may not know, was a decathlon athlete, memory serves, English person, individual, and he was quite skilled at his art, if you want to call it that. I'm fairly sure he was quite a medalist, um, or medal winner, whatever you call it. Regardless, pistol shooting. We'll get back to that in a second. I just want to mention that the reason the first 15, 16 seconds, whatever, is quiet is because, of course, the title music for this game is a rendition of Chariots of Fire. And I don't want to gamble with that flagging up on YouTube, so I decided to mute it. You should know the theme. If nothing else, it's easy to look up. Regardless, Daley Thompson's Super Test is a multi-event game. Unlike many of the other Daley Thompson's inspired games by Ocean, this is more of an action variation of it. The same venue as Konami's Super Sport, and to a point, track and field. Now, when it comes to the different events, we start here with pistol shooting, and I should probably edit parts of it out, but you know what? I decided for um, the purpose of keeping the video length slightly longer to actually just keep it the full event in. For these kind of games, you have a qualifying score or time or similar that you have to pass in order to move on to the next event. You have a set amount of lives, and if you fail to qualify, then you will lose a life and then be propelled to the next event. So you get some experience with the different events. A lot of other games would probably force you to retry them. But in this event, we have a qualifying score of 3,000 points, and the object is to shoot the target. You have to wait until a target faces towards you, then you can start aiming. And once you have raised your aim, you cannot lower it again. So you will need to line up relatively quickly, and it is somewhat harder than it may initially appear to actually get bullseye shots. You do get a few here and there. As an event goes, it's not particularly exciting, to be honest. It's actually rather dull. That gives me a chance to talk a bit about graphics and sound in this game. The graphics range from average to semi-poor. The similarities between this and Super Sports are so frighteningly close on certain situations that I find it interesting that Ocean managed to get away with this. Cycling, good old waggle the joystick from side to side until you reach the goal. Nothing else to be said. But anyway, as I was saying, the graphics and the general presentation, all that resembles those kind of games by another company to the point where, yeah, you can question how they managed to get away with it, but apparently they did. The sound effects are very sporadic, slightly exaggerated, and of course the music jingles are short and sweet. The music rendition of Chariots of Fire is actually quite decent, but as I said earlier, I do not necessarily want it to flag on YouTube, so left it out. Next up we have diving, which is bounce on a springboard and then waggle the joystick from side to side to spin as many times as possible and try and land, dive into the water perfectly. I forgot the waggle aspect in the first attempt, so my bad. Spoiler, I don't qualify for this. This event, I mean, you're encouraged to waggle as fast as you possibly can, but you often find yourself you're getting a worse score for doing 700 circles rotations, somersaults, whatever you call them, and make a bad entry into the water than you do for making 5 or 6 and then have a good entry. Not particularly inspired events, much like the jumping horse thing, whatever it was called in super sports. So, super slalom. Yeah. It is what it says on the tin. There's some gates and you have a skier and you're trying to ski between the gates. The controls on this event, or in this event, I would say, is extremely sensitive. You have to know the course in order to have any chance of completing it. Because it's not an event where you just go in and try it once and then you complete it. Not happening, because you need to know where all the gates are to pre-position yourself in order to get through the gates. Right? I know that waggled the joystick from side to side, and I, for some reason, missed the fact that I was the rower on the upper side of the screen, so I got off to a bad start. Whereas in summer games this event would have been a rhythmic event, it has just been kept to be a waggle the joystick from side to side. And it works. If you have a sensitive joystick, you will likely break it playing games like this, and having a joystick is a proper joystick in this day and age, unfortunately, of course, is rather complicated, but sometimes you just have to make do with what you got. And lo and behold, I didn't qualify. What a shame. So, next event. Penalties. Run up to the football and shoot the ball, score some goals. And you will have to waggle the stick again to build up power, and once you get a zoom-in view of the athlete, you have to time the button press so you actually kick the ball, and then in the same time you have to angle the shot, and of course depending on how much power you build up on the way to the ball, you will send off the ball at a certain speed and the angle and blah blah blah, all that stuff. And to be honest, I found it obnoxiously difficult to want to get the timing to when you're supposed to click to hit the ball, to also set the angle of kicking the football at the same time. So this is another event where I just failed to qualify. As a whole, considering how many Daley Thompson's inspired games that Ocean actually released, and I think it was something like 6, maybe even more, this feels like a bit of a weak entry into that named series of games, and it is not particularly enjoyable. I did not feel any desire to play a second game. This is the first game I played. I should have practiced all that stuff, but you know what? It just did not inspire me to do so. So on that very, very boring note, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.